Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is said to have many twists and turns, as well as revelations and saga-wide implications in this movie by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, what's really great about Episode 9 is that we do know that this movie is going to answer a lot of the burning questions from The Force Awakens, and by far, I think it's pretty safe to say that one of the biggest questions has all to do with Rey's lineage, exactly who she is and where she really comes from, and even everything that has to do with her parents, right? Her father and her mother. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for this movie. Now, specifically, it's described that a description of both Luke's Force Ghost and Rey sitting in front of a large Jedi structure, where it's described that Luke is giving Rey many lessons about the ways of the Jedi, where it's said to be a moment in which Rey questions about her parents to Luke, where it's said to be a sequence in which Luke knows a piece of Rey's father's story that she may not want to know about while Luke was tapping into her mind. It's described that eventually Luke reveals to Rey that her father is still alive out there, somewhere in the galaxy, and that he once was a part of a testing site on Jakku that once belonged to the Empire and once worked with Emperor Palpatine before the Empire's fall. It's said to be a moment in where Luke Skywalker explains that he can see certain truths by digging into Rey's mind, however explains it's a partial truth, like looking through a keyhole. The sequence is said to be very emotional that teases the lineage of Rey and exactly who she is in the story by JJ. So, the thing about this that I really want to go over is, of course, that this also changes, once again, another element of The Last Jedi. You guys may recall that in The Last Jedi, Kylo Ren tells Rey that her father is dead and is basically, buried under the surface of Jakku, under a grave somewhere in the desert. And that's exactly what Kylo had to say to Rey in Episode 8. And now in Episode 9, in this particular sequence, from what's being described is that Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost reveals this big revelation to Rey, that Rey's father is still out there somewhere in the galaxy, and that he once worked on a testing site on the planet of Jakku with the Empire and, of course, with Emperor Palpatine. Now, this raises a big question for sure. Is there a deep connection between both Rey and Emperor Palpatine in some way, shape, or form? Since we do know that Palpatine is going to be a significant piece in the story and will actually have a lot of scenes in the movie that's going to have saga-wide implications and change some of the ways of the sequel trilogy characters. Now, the thing about this... Alright, the thing about all of this and related to Episode 9 involving J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio and what they're trying to do in order to really mix in a lot of twists and turns related to the legacy characters and their connection to the sequel characters. Great example is, of course, Luke and Rey. So, this particular sequence involves both the Force Ghost version of Luke Skywalker basically delivering certain truths about Rey's lineage, about her father specifically, in this certain scenario, where he reveals to her that he's alive out there, somehow, some way in the galaxy. Not quite sure exactly how Luke Skywalker would even know that, but apparently he knows by tapping into Rey's mind. Now, the thing about this, alright, when we look at Episode 9, this movie is said to be a movie with earth-shaking twists and turns, as Richard E. Grant said once before during the Radio Times interview. You guys may recall that a couple of months ago. Now, the character of Rey is going to go through a lot of changes by JJ in this movie. In fact, in case you guys did not know, originally JJ Abrams wanted to do something very special for the character of Rey in Episode 7 and had things all set out and planned out to be throughout the sequel trilogy, if he ever stuck around for other projects, which he didn't until Episode 9. So, I'm really looking at the connection here between both Rey, Rey's father, Luke Skywalker, and Palpatine, and the mention of a testing site where her father was actually affiliated with that for quite some time, before going away from all of that and associating himself with the Church of the Force. This testing site, could this very well have something to do with Rey being a clone of some kind? Now, for the longest time, guys, I have suggested that Rey's parents are probably not really her parents per se by blood, but maybe step-parents, if you will. And I think that when we look at Episode 9, the fact that they are really trying to insert a lot of the Legends material and expanded universe material for the character of Palpatine, you know, him coming back to life in some way, shape, or form, and how Palpatine as a character is going to reveal a lot of revelations in this movie that are related to the sequel trilogy characters like Kylo Ren and Rey. I think it's pretty likely that something is going on between both Palpatine and Rey in this story. I mean, watching that fight in The Force Awakens, you know, seeing the moves that Rey actually performed against Kylo Ren, a lot of those moves are exactly what Palpatine used in the prequel trilogy era. So I don't think that was a coincidence. I don't think that was done on accident. I think that there is something more to the story than we already know about as of right now. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon